Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Cleo and today I will be showing you a latest release coming from Lian Li known as the Unifan SL120 V2 and the SL140 V2. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Lian Li to have provided all this unit to share it with you. In this video, I will be covering the physical fan itself, the accessories, how it's being connected to your system, and to make use of the application called L-Connect 3. At the meantime, I'll be talking about the specification of the fans, be it the SL120 V2 or the SL140 V2. On top of it, I'll be showing you the effects and what are the improvements made on these fans. And of course, I will be comparing the version 2 of the 120mm fans, which is the SL120, against the original SL120. Let's begin. Let's start off with the SL120 V2. You have two choices of color: black fans or white fans. Be it choosing black or white, it comes in two forms of packaging. The first set will be the 3-pack set, whereby it comes with a controller, and this controller make use of L-Connect application in Windows to send the command to this controller and to control your ARGB effects, and there are plenty of ARGB effects. And at the meantime, to control the RPM of your fans. Now, as for the individual pack, whereby you have only one fan, it does not come with a controller. Looking at the specification over here, I will further elaborate, be it whether you're choosing a black or white. Now, for individual pack set, it meant you're having one fan and the necessary accessories. Else, for 3-pack set, you are getting 3 fans and one controller with all the necessary accessories. So, be it whether you're choosing a black or white with the various package set, the specification over here are of the same on the SL120 V2. You can pause this and to go through the specification. And as for the SL140 V2, it comes in black and white, but this only comes as an individual package with its accessory. And these are the specification. You can pause the video and to read through. The difference between the SL120 V2 and the SL140 V2 basically are the sizes, as you can see here. 120 will be a 120mm fan, SL140 will be a 140mm fan. The thickness on the SL120, however, is 25mm thick as compared to the SL140 V2, which is 25mm thick. Now, on the RPM side itself, on SL120, it starts off with 250 RPM to 2000 RPM. Else, for SL120 V2, it's 250 as a start and 1600 RPM. Now, why is this lower? As the blade is bigger as compared to the SL120, that's why it requires less RPM to draw air to your case or to your radiator. And the operation voltage is DC 12 volt on both fans, and the amperage is slightly higher on the SL120, which is 0.17 ampere, and on the SL140 is lower by 0.06 ampere, which is 0.11 ampere. And both of these fans have a warranty of 2 years period from the date of your purchase. I will first start off with the unboxing and to show you the physical fans and all the accessories. I'll start off with this 3-pack set itself. When you open this package, you'll be ushered with lots of cables. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these cables. These are the daisy chain cables, and you have additional of this too. I believe these are the bridging cables, which I'm going to show you later. You have 3 fans. Fan screws for your fan. There are a total of 3 packages, each with 4 screws. The instruction manual itself and the accessory. The physical fan itself, this is very sturdy. No wobble, no nothing. Now take note on the fan blade itself. Though this is a 120mm fan, if I am to measure the blade width from here to here, this is 110 millimeter in length. Besides this, the improvement on this V2 itself, as you can see both sides, this is chrome. If I were to compare it with the original SL120, where you have this ugly logo, you are provided with this sticker and to stick over it, then the other side is chrome. But for the V2, both sides are chrome. Besides this, the daisy chain mechanism is the same. Let me just show you. Now when you're doing the interlocking itself, right, make sure that it's of the same direction. You can't interlock with the fan blade, with the fan frame facing up and the other one facing down. You can't do the interconnection this way. It must be of the same direction, as in this, the frame blade is facing you. Then to interconnect, right, you have this point over here. One is with start and the other end without. So make sure that the start is with the without starts. So to align this, take a look at the marking over here. So what you need is to flush this one line to the top of this and to interlock. Here you go. So this is lock, which is similar to the SL120. Now, another thing that they did improvement on is, in fact, is this starts over here. On the original SL120, right, this starts, you can't remove it. So when you place this on the radiator, right, this might be a obstacle for the hose, the radiator hose, and some other stuff. Else for this, right, a beauty of it, you can just remove these two studs and you can just place on the radiator without any obstruction. Now another good thing about this, right, besides the studs itself, on the original SL120 you can see there is this protruding out. So this is also another hindrance on the radiator hose. Else for SL120 V2, it doesn't have. And all is needed, right, this cable in fact is plugged to this end over here. So leaving there are no obstacle for you to place and no obstacle to your radiator hose. I'll show you the connection later. Now aside from this, right, I will be showing you the effect on the ARGB and the improvement made, right. If you were to compare, look at the ARGB diffusion lining over here. This gap over here is 3 millimeter in gap as compared to this, the original, see, it's wider. So it gives a clean fusion, and the pattern on the ARGB, right, is, it's kind of like neat and close. And facing at the side, as I mentioned, this is a 28 millimeter thick fan as compared to the original. See, it's protruding more. And of course the bar over here, right, it cuts deeper in, as in like giving a clean look, and it's wider as compared to the original. In this accessory box itself, it contains the controller and all the necessary cables. It's sealed. This is the controller itself. It's similar to the SL140, whereby you have two additional 3-pin JST03 port, and of course the 4 fans connection, as in like the 4 daisy chain connection. You can connect total up to 16 fans with each port, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, each port with 4 fans, so total of 16. Now I know there are a total of 6 ports over here, but do not plug additional fans, as in once you plug all, fill up with the 4 fans, right, as in like 16 fans, do not add more fans to it. If you're gonna add more fans to it, right, this unit will definitely blow, so take note on this. Now, at this end here, this is not detachable. This is meant for you to connect your PSU SATA connector to this cables over here. So this will provide the power to all your ports. And I believe this, with two cables, right, are providing the power to the first two port here that say Sync 2, Sync 4. And for this with 4 cables SATA connector, is meant for all your ports over here. And make sure you plug this to your PSU where you draw the power source, that it can provide the power to this unit and to your fans or to your parahertz. Besides this, you're ushered with these two cables. This is the PWM and the ARGB cable where you connect this end over here to your controller, which is over here. Then at the other end, this is meant to plug to your ARGB motherboard header, and this is to your motherboard PWM header. Now, if you choose not to use the L-Connect application and to bypass that, right, which controls the fans ARGB and the RPM itself with this unit, you can bypass it and make use of this. But if you are using the L-Connect itself, this you don't really have to plug. Next will be the communication cable between your controller and to your motherboard USB header, which I'm going to show you later. This cable is to be connected to your controller, which is over here. Then at this end, to plug to your USB header on your motherboard. Besides showing you the controller and all the cables that is necessary, now left over on the package itself, right, you have these two items. Now this is brilliantly done. In fact, they've done a QR code, so if you want to download the L-Connect 3 application, you have this, you can scan it, or you want to read the instruction manual on how to do the connection, you can just scan the QR code over here. And this merging installation, right, I will be explaining to you later what is actually going on. And as for this is a double-sided tape whereby you tape at the back of your controller. As you can see here, there's a rectangular cutout over here. You can just remove this tape, both sides over here. Then you can tape this onto your case so that it will secure in position. At the very beginning, when I do the unboxing and you are ushered with 4 cables of this, as I mentioned, these are daisy chain connectors, which is incorrect, so sorry about this. These are meant for the individual cables for each of these fans over here, and you only need 3, and this is additional. And if you were to purchase an individual pack, right, that does not come with this kind of connector, you can make use of this and to connect to your fan over here. And these are the bridging cable, which I'm going to explain to you later why is this needed. Now, to connect the fans with this cable is pretty straightforward. If you can see here, right, in each fan there is always this socket over here, right above the pin. So at this end over here, right, where you have a cover and followed by the plug. So the cover is meant for you to cover the pins. So you slot it this way and to the socket over here. Now do not force it, there's only one direction, so lightly adjust the alignment. Once you got the alignment, then you push it in. Okay, it's in. Then I will just clip. Once it's seated, right, as you can see, the pins are covered. So this will prevent short. Well thought of, Lian Li. And it just flushes, and that's it. And at this end, where you can see a unique connector, now it consists of 7 cables in this connector itself. And what it does is it controls the fan RPM and also the ARGB. And on your controller, you are only able to connect this kind of connector to the 4 ports. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, assuming you have all the ports populated with 4 fans each, meaning you say 1, 2, 3, 4 fans to one port, and you have connected all, so giving you a total of 16 fans being connected to port 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me just plug this and show you. Assuming, because I don't have so much fans, just an illustration. So imagine that all these ports are filled with 4 fans each, and make sure that each port do not exceed more than 4 fans. Make sure it's just 4. So imagine you have 4 fans over here, 4 fans over here, 4 fans over here, and 4 fans over here, total 16. Having to say this, right, you have these 2 additional port, which is the Sync 2 and Sync 4, that has the JST03 plug. I know that in older generation SL, right, you have this kind of plug, whereby this is for the fan, this is for the ARGB effects. Now, for the ARGB effects, right, this fit exactly to this socket, but as I mentioned, you have filled up total of 16 fans. Please do not daisy chain another 3 more or 4 more, and to plug this to here, though it's pluggable. Reason being, right, if you run over 16 fans and you add another 4 more, this unit is going to be damaged. Even if you to plug 1 fan, okay, as mentioned, you have exceeded the 16 fan. This is the 17th fan, and this controller will not be able to take it. So it might damage, it might blow the caps and such. And what are this Sync 2 and Sync 4 port are for? If you have a gigahertz AIO, whereby your pump have the ARGB connector, you can connect that to this port. Not an issue, because the LEDs on the gigahertz is not a lot compared to the fan itself, especially for unifans. And the other end, right, you might want to plug probably then these ARGB strips, or any ARGB strips that is 3-pin 5V that has this kind of connector. But make sure that the strip is not longer than 1 meter. Take note on this. Coming to the individual package, be it the SL120 V2 and SL140 V2, I'm just going to unpack each. Just going to put this one side. Now, as you unbox, be it the SL120 or the SL140 V2, you will be provided with accessory cables. Let me just show you. Inside the package, you will be provided with 4 screws, a converter ARGB cable, and this is the cable to connect to your fans, where you see the connectors, right, are slightly different, which I'm going to show you later. And of course, the fan and the instruction manual. Same goes to the SL120, the cable for your fan, which both are sleeve. On the SL140 and the SL120, right, they are all sleeves. And screws as per normal, 4 screws. And this is the converter for the ARGB. And the fan and the manual. See? Now, you might be asking, what's this converter for? But before I go into it, imagine that you have the individual fan and you did the daisy chain and such. You bought 3 individual fans, and at this end, right, where you connect to here as illustrated to you, make sure that the cover is covering the pin and you plug it in. See? So at this end here, right, you're able to plug this directly to your motherboard and this to a ARGB controller that has such plug. If it does not have this plug, right, this come in handy, whereby you can connect this over here, and at this end, this is a standard ARGB 5V connector, where you can connect either to your motherboard connector, header, ARGB header, or you can connect to a controller that has this kind of standard connection. Or if you choose to add on to your 3-pack where it has a controller. Now, as mentioned, this, once you plug this in here, right, you can't plug to the port. So what it does is, the 3-pack only comes with 3 fans. So these are the additional cables which you can make use of. So you can just connect, as shown you over here, and to connect this end to your controller. Not an issue. Now you might be asking, this is all SL120. What if I were to purchase a 140 instead? Let me just move this aside. And can I connect this 140 to the controller? The answer is yes. Reason being, right, they have improved the L-Connect application, or should I say the L-Connect tree, to have 2 profiles. One is the 120, the other one is the 140, which I'm going to show you later. So again, if you want to plug additional 140mm fans to this controller, right, not a problem. Now, once again, do take note, if you are doing this, make sure that each port doesn't exceed 4 fans, inclusive of the you can connect 4 140mm fan and to connect here, not a problem, but do not exceed more than 16 fan on this controller itself. Take note. So just to show you, see, it works the same. See, it covers the pin, and from here you'll be able to connect to here. Not an issue. And on the L-Connect tree itself, I will show you later how to switch the profile. Now, come to a very interesting cable. These two are the merging cable, which is different. As you can see, the connection point, right? Okay, this is 1/7 unique connector, and this is to the fan itself. Else here, right, is different. One, this is to the fan, and this is to snap on to another fan. So why is this made? As Danny have listened to us, as you know that if we were to get fans like, okay, for example, these are the fans at the top of the case itself, and you wanted to daisy chain at the rear, for example. Okay, let me just clear off all this stuff here. So as you know that the pattern, right, in the past where you connect the top to the rear with the ARGB Lian Li kit, when you activate the L-Connect application with the effects, especially when it comes to stack or mixing and such, you want the effect to actually start from here all the way to the rear and to the back. I mean, return back. But if we are to use the old style, as in like the ARGB cable from Lian Li itself, right, in the past, when you start over here, right, with the effect on L-Connect tree, this will take as a starting point. So the fusion will not go from this fan all the way down here and back. Instead, it will start at both ends like this, which is what you do not want. So this cable is the bridging cable, whereby it makes the effect possible, where you connect one end to this end, you can slot over here. Oh, you have to take this out. Slot this to here, lock it, it should be this way. Okay, that's correct, my bad. Okay, so you lock it over here, then over at this end you can connect to your fan, to the rear fan. So having this set, right, what it does is, when it does the effect itself, it will start from here, the beginning, and you'll move on and to continue over here and to return, which I will show you the effect later. Additional information about this bridging cable over here, which connects from one fan to another to continue the ARGB effects. Now, I've illustrated to you with 3 fans as one set and followed by the rear. And if you intend to increase 2 more fans, you're able to do so. So total, you can cluster this bridging cable with 2 sets of fans of 3, which is 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. But having to say this right, when you are doing the bridging, make sure that when you total up all the fans to the controller, it doesn't exceed 16 fans. So make sure it's within the 16 fan capability of this controller. I will show you the step-by-step connection on how the cable works. Now, take note on your motherboard itself, whereby you have the ARGB 5V, which has 3 pins, then followed by the fan header and the USB connectors. So first off, from the fan itself, all is needed, as mentioned, this cable, plug it to this socket here, where the protective cover is covering the pin. As mentioned, do not force it. It only goes in one direction. So once you have it in place right, push both ends. Make sure it's secured, and this is how it looks. And from this end, this is to your controller for either ports 1, 2, 3 or 4. For this, I will just plug to port 4. Now, once this is done right, next thing you need to do, connect these cables. This, as mentioned, if you are using the motherboard ARGB effects and the PWM for the fans itself, right, you'll be needing this cable. If not, if you're solely using the controller with the L-Connect application, you don't have to plug this. But for illustration's sake, I will just show you. So this end here, this is where you plug to the controller, which is to this socket here. Again, there's only one direction. Do not force it in. Once this is plugged in, over at this side here where you have the ARGB 3-pin 5V connector and the PWM, on your motherboard, as you can see over here, this is 3-pin. So I plug the ARGB over here. And again, do not force in if it can't go in. So once this is secured right, next thing you need to do is to plug this PWM to your motherboard fan header. This is done. Next thing is this USB cable, which you will need to plug the micro USB connector to your controller, which is here. Again, there's only one direction, so don't force it in. It's quite easy to plug it in. And at this end, this is the USB connector. It connects to either of the USB port over here. Okay, just to show you, either of the port over here. Now, what is this needed? This is needed whereby your L-Connect that's running in Windows itself, the L-Connect tree, it will send the command and all the ARGB effects and the RPM readings to your controller. And from the controller, right, you will pass all the instruction to your fan, ARGB and the RPMs itself. The last thing you need to do is to plug your power source. And we are doing this right, make sure that your system is off, your power connector right is off, then you connect to the power source. Alright, I didn't plug this in, anyway it should be in. So from your PSU itself, right, plug the SATA. There are 2. Make sure both are plugged. This is the application that you will need to download from Lian Li's official website known as the L-Connect 3. I'll leave this URL in my description so that you can click and to download. Before you download, please read the instructions over here on your right. So in the event, for example, let me just show you. If your L-Connect itself, and when you're plugged with the controller, when you click on settings and to update, if this is not able to let you update the firmware itself, right, all you need is just to follow the guide over here. It will teach you how to manually update your controller. And having to say this, right, before you install the application itself, make sure it's at latest version 1.5.6, and you can look at the description under the chain log on what's on this new version. It will tell you what's added, like for Gen 13 generation for the Intel processor or the AM5 processor, the 7000 series, and the profile, which I mentioned to you. You can connect both the 120 and the 140 SL120 on the same controller. So this is why it's good to download this profile. Now, for those of you who have installed the L-Connect application previously, it's best to remove off the, or should I say, uninstall the previous version and to install this latest version. Now, uninstalling the previous version on L-Connect itself by Windows, it might help, it might not help. If that doesn't help, kindly download this application, which I highly recommended most of the people who reinstall programs. That is to download this Revo Uninstaller. I'll leave this URL in my description again. Then click on free download and you have this. Just click on the free download version and I'll launch this. This is the application which I've installed, the Revo Uninstaller. All you need to do is just to highlight on the previous version of L-Connect, double click on it, uninstall it. Let me just show you. I don't have the previous version, but I'm just going to take one of the example. So if I were to double click on this, assuming this is the previous version of L-Connect, okay, uncheck this make a system restore point, because you don't have to make a restore point since you do not want the application. Click on continue and this will prompt. It will ask you whether you want to uninstall. Just click on yes. Do not do anything. Then once this is uninstalled, right, click on OK. Do not click on cancel. Select advanced. Do a scan. Once you have scanned this, right, you will list down all this leftover registry where you can delete off from your system. So select all and delete. And also including folders and files that's unwanted, not used anymore. Select all and delete. Now, reason to practice this, right, when you install the L-Connect 3 application, right, since you have removed off the previous version, all the leftovers that is on your previous version will be totally removed off from your Windows folder. So you can install this as fresh, just to make sure that everything works out well. Right now, I'm going to take you to the dashboard on how it looks like on the L-Connect 3. Once you have installed the L-Connect 3 application and launch it, this is how the interface looks like. The first thing you will need to make sure that it's working properly on all your fans, take note on the CPU temperature and the GPU temperature. Make sure the figures over here, you see the 2 digits and the 2 digits over here, make sure they react when you run any application on your background, and same goes to the GPU. If it stays there, right, then you will be having a problem to set your RPM on your fans itself, be it the SL or the SL140. Let me just show you what I meant. Now, if you were to click on the fan pump profile itself, looking at this graph itself, right, this green line here is actually moving. This is in fact the temperature for the CPU or the GPU, depending on which profile you have set. This is right now at CPU, so you can set it as GPU. See, it changes. So with this say, right, without this having an actual reading, when you do the fan curves, right, it can't follow. As in, like, you know, this might be lower than 50 degrees Celsius or above 50 degrees Celsius, then it will react on the curve itself. So make sure that under system info, this temperature over here on the CPU and this temperature over here on the GPU, make sure it runs real life, as in, like, it changes the figures. If the CPU and the GPU readings are not reacting, as in, like, there is no movement on the digits itself, I do have another video which explains to you how to rectify the issue. If you click on the top right hand corner, it will take you to that video and you can follow the guide. Now, on the fan profile itself, as mentioned to you, you are able to connect the 120 or the 140 in one controller. Reason being, right, if you look at this now, my port 1, this is SL120 V2, and port 2, this is SL140 V2. As you can see over here, right, there is a profile where you can pull down, setting it either 120 or 140. Now, take for example my port 1, this is 120. I'll leave it as 120 so that the program knows that this is connected with a SL120 V2 fans, which has a max RPM of 2000. Else for port 2, right, which is this, I have connected the SL140, so I changed the profile to 140, telling the controller, saying that, look, this port 2 is connected with SL140, which have a max RPM of 1600. So this is how it did the settings over here. That's why you can connect both fans, both different types of fans into a same controller. Now, just an illustration, I will not be setting the custom curve where you can do it over here and to derive your own curves and to save the settings. I'll just do a fast illustration. Now, take for example, if you to highlight on port 1, which is my SL120, I can set to full load and to apply. And as you can see, it will react. Or I can set it to quiet mode and to apply, and it will react, slow down the RPM. For the SL140, same thing. I can set to full speed. When I apply, the RPM will ramp up. See, close to 1600. Or I can set it to quiet, or you can do custom, as in like setting your own curve and to apply. If you want both to run at default, all you need to do, let's say you select a profile as standard, click on apply all, and both will react upon the default standard or maybe quiet mode and such. Now, if you do not want to make use of L-Connect 3 to control the RPMs of the fans itself, right, as mentioned earlier, when I do the connection, there is this cable with the RPM to the controller to your motherboard and the ARGB connection from your controller to your motherboard. If that is connected, you can toggle this switch over here that says motherboard RPM sync. Right now it's off. If you turn it on, right, L-Connect will bypass, not giving instructions as in the RPM to the fans itself. Instead, you can make use of your motherboard utility to control the RPM. Next will be the effects itself. Now, for this video, I will not go through all the effects over here. That will be on another video with the temperature reading between the SL120 and the SL120 V2. Now, having said so, right, earlier on, I have actually shown you the bridge cable over here that I've connected. As you can see, it's split. Now, making you understand that what do I mean by the sequence of the ARGB, right, will not break, it will just continue on. So imagine this is actually the rear fan, this is the top fan. So if I am to set right now to run away and to apply, oh sorry, I should select on SL120. My bad, Okay, let me just switch this back to rainbow. And I should turn off the light stand to show you. Alright, now for the SL120, as mentioned to you, the bridging cable. So if I were to set to run away, which is this, when I apply, see, look at the red spectrum. It's going in sequence. Without this bridging cable itself, right, it will break, as in the spectrum of the red will stop here and will not continue on. What it does is, if you were to use the ARGB cable kit from Lian Li itself, right, that connection will not able you to continue the red, red effect, or should I say the red ray that is going across the fusion tunnel. See? So this is why this cable make it possible, because a lot of us have been mentioning that can it make the sequence as in like one stretch instead of break halfway, whereby your starting point right here will start off as red. So that's the issue. And as for SL140, not a problem. I select to the next spot and to run away. As some of you have experienced the L-Connect tree itself, it's a very complex application, but it's easy to use. And if you want to know in depth about what each function can do on L-Connect itself, Lian Li have deliberately done up this manual page for L-Connect tree, whereby there are references over here as in like the pump profile, what you can do with the pump profile, illustration, and the quick sync itself telling you what can be done, and with the steps over here with all the directions as you can see. And you have things like the streamer plus controller, and with illustration, and of course, as I mentioned to you, the merging effect. See, this is possible on L-Connect tree itself, whereby I show you the merge cable, see, 3 to 1 or 3 to 3 with this merging cable that I'm talking about. So all this is illustrated on this menu itself. I will leave this URL in my description again if you want to have a look on the in-depth on this menu itself. Before I share my thoughts about all these Unifans over here, I'd like to thank Lian Li to have provided this SL120 V2 and the SL140 V2. The build structure on the fans itself is very sturdy, be it the SL120 or the SL140 V2. And another thing that I like is that no more ugly stickers at the center, whereby both sides are chrome. The effects on the ARGB is consistent, and based on this bridging cable itself, right, your sequence is able to bridge to the next fan itself continuously. And also the interlock mechanism of this fan itself, you're able to remove it so that when you place on radiator, there are no obstruction. And next thing about the ARGB itself, take a look at the gap over here. I find that it's very refined, so the continuation of the effects itself, right, is beautifully done. Now, I will do up another video and to show you the ARGB effects, and at the meantime, at that video, I will show you the performance on this SL120 V2, as it's 28mm thick compared to the original SL120, which is 25mm thick. Now, the next video, you can click on the top right hand corner and you will just bring you to that video, and it will show you, as mentioned, the effects on the ARGB and the performance on this SL120. For those of you actually new to my channel, welcome to my channel, and if you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.